Okay, so we had the fortunate opportunity to do a styled wedding shoot. And a styled wedding shoot is a kind of mock wedding that they do in the industry specifically for kind of magazine publications, for publicity, for marketing materials, where a company will get a bride and a groom, a fake bride and a groom models, and kind of stage a wedding. And it's a really cool opportunity. This was our first um, styled shoot with Mama Bird Weddings. It was really an amazing experience, and I wanted to just talk and share that information with the world about our process. And so, first, Ariana, from your perspective, kind of go through the process of how we got invited to this styled shoot and why we were asked to be there.
So we previously had connections with Platinum Bridal because we had went to a wedding showcase, and they were the booth right next to us, and so we had got in connections with them, and we were planning on doing a promotional video for their business, but then the pandemic had hit and everything, and that kind of like derailed the plans. But a few weeks ago, Monica from Platinum Bridal, she had called me, Monica and her sister Tori. They had called me wanting to see if we can come and do a video from their style shoot that they were planning on doing. And so we told them, yeah, we would be able to do it. And so, yeah, that was kind of how those plans came to be.
And after all this was done, I wrote a big online post about networking and the importance of networking. And this is something I wish I would have figured out way earlier in life. And a lot of people have figured this out. And a lot of people, and I think that's often a privileged thing, is it's kind of ingrained into them through their families early. And families that are well connected are often then helping their kids be well connected. And what comes from that is amazing. So we paid to be part of this bridal show. I think that was like $800 or $900 that I invested in our company. I paid you to be there with me. And I've done several of these shows for the Rocky Mountain Bridal Show, and it's a good experience every time. We paid for it with getting business every time, but the networking part of it is so important. So again, my personal business is wedding videography, and we just really lucked out to be next to Monica and Tori own Platinum Bridal, and we started getting to talk. And they are both from Montbello, which is where our students are from and where I teach and where my heart is in so many ways. And so that was amazing to me, that we had this connection. The Both Black female entrepreneurs, powerful Black female entrepreneurs, which was an amazing connection. And so young women like you can really see yourselves in these positions, and they've been unbelievably successful. They've ran this. They have a wedding dress company, so they resell wedding dresses in wide range, right, variety of prices, and they just do a great job and run a great business. And they've been very successful. I believe they've been operating for a little over 2 years now, and have done really well. And even during the pandemic, they've done really well. So when we connected with them, it was really exciting to me. And then you really carried on that connection in a great way. And so had stayed in communication with them. And when you stay in communication with people, then they think of you when these opportunities come up. So this opportunity was really for them to get, again, publicity. They have been in international magazines for their different styled shoots previously. And so the photography is kind of the main part of all this. Is their goal was to get in international magazines. And so videography is so often an afterthought, and probably a thought they may not have had without our connection with them and that relationship with them. So relationships are really important in networking, and being kind of on the top of mind, being interacting with people, checking in with people so that you can do that. So that was so exciting to me when we heard about that. And then what came from it was something even bigger. So we're gonna let's ask you that. What was our business goal? What were we producing for them? We were not paid for this. In the future, that is something that often styled shoots you do get paid for, which is a big investment for the people putting it on. But again, there's the publicity that comes with it. That's an investment in themselves. But we were not paid for this because, again, it's something that we really believe in. We want to network and connect with them even more, and they will give us referrals, I'm sure, in the future, for future business and future wedding videos with their brides. They deal with a lot of brides each year, and they're vouching for us and talking about us will be huge for that. And then one final thing I wanted to say before we talk more about our day was networking. Good networking means that you give something kind of without thinking about yourself. So that you're doing something and providing something for someone because it's the right thing to do, because you want to do it. And so that can be in a simple conversation, connecting somebody to somebody else who could help move them forward. That could be helping them with a little bit of your expertise and insight on something, um, the money will come later, and you're not giving away everything, but you see the potential for that money coming some way, and you're not doing it for that reason. You're doing it to put good in the world, and then that good will come back to you. So, with saying that, what are you're really going to be doing the editing? So we went and filmed all day. It was a long day. It was like 7 or 8 hours. We filmed at this mansion up in Thornton, the chateau, which is amazing, at Fox Meadows, owned by women business owners. um, what is the deliverable that you're going to provide for a platinum bride?
So I'm going to create kind of like a mock wedding video out of that bridal shoot, and so it's going to look like how a normal wedding video looks. No longer than 8 minutes, probably not even that long. Just kind of for them to put on their website, I believe, to continue to show off their dresses and their company. Yeah.
And then one thing that I really encourage us to think about when we were there, and this videography lends itself really well to this, is that we could kind of create little behind the scenes for the other vendors that were there. And so, again, with that mindset that you're going there to make connections, you're going there, well, you're first of all going there to do your job, which you do. But while you're doing your job, you make other connections, you create other relationships with all these other vendors, and you try to provide value any way you can. So, with videography, what that looks like is we can record kind of behind the scenes with the people doing work. And so, we'll talk about some of the people that were there: makeup artists, hair artists, the wedding planners, flower florists. And so there was a ton of different people that were doing work there that would be great connections for them to know about our services, know about us, be connected with us for the future. And again, you're just giving good people something to help move them forward. You're also helping support this community that Platinum Bridal has put together too. And so you're helping them more in that regard as well. So there's so many different angles where this is important. Several different people that let me, okay, sorry. So several different people that we connected with. Bridget Black did makeup, and so if we weren't outgoing, if we weren't introducing ourselves, if we weren't letting them know about what work we do, then we wouldn't have these same connections and this buy-in from the other people. And so that's a priority. When you're on site, when you're networking with people, you need to put yourself off and out of your comfort zone. It's not out of my comfort zone because I'm used to it and enjoy the interaction. But if you're an introvert, you need to put yourself out of your comfort zone to make sure that you are remembered. And what that looks like can be very simple. It can be you talking about what you're doing. You'll come up with a good speech about what you do and why that's important. For me, as a white privileged male, most white privileged males are not leading kind of with their privilege. And so I think the florists were white as well. But besides that, everybody there was African American. And so me making sure that I stand out to them by making them aware that I'm aware of my own privilege is a way to be memorable. And it's also the right thing to do. Like it's time that this is shared with the world. And so that's something that will connect people to me. Also, that you're there with me is important too. And so, because I really have this kind of apprenticeship model with the business, and that I want you to learn how to run your own business, I communicate that with them. So then they also see you in a light where they know you're wanting to learn all this stuff. And then something I didn't do well enough though is like let you take more of the lead in that, and that'll happen in the future. So Bridget Black was amazing, and now we're connected on Facebook. We're connected on, I need to get on Instagram, but we'll be connected on that. We'll be connected with her in the future. And she's a makeup artist. She runs her own business. She'll be someone we need to interview for this YouTube channel so that we can have more people learn from her expertise. And then I don't know exactly how to pronounce her name. Dacia, I think. Dacia Chavot did hair and did a beautiful job on the bride with her hair. And one of the things that's interesting about this too is it takes about 4 months before you're going to be able to see any of these pictures because the magazines need to run them first, and it's that long of a time frame. So from a business perspective, they're thinking that far ahead, and that foresight is really important too. So yeah, Dacia did hair. The actual model, who was a sister-in-law of the women who own Platinum Bridal, also makes cakes. So she made her own cakes. sweet savory cakery. And so she was amazing too. Asia, I think, was her name. And then they had a wedding planner that was working with them, Tina. And then also, the photographer was another huge connection that I should have mentioned previously. So with videography, photography goes right hand in hand. And Zajane, who owns Sane, I do a terrible job pronouncing her name, but she owns a company named Kimura Jackson, and she's an amazing photographer and will be a great connection for us in the future too. And so all these people, the people who own, the women who owned the chateau, we talked to and connected with, and I need to follow up still with them. But all these different people are the networking angle of what we did, and we would not be exposed to this if we not took the time to connect, if we'd not been invested in ourselves to be at this bridal showcase where people are actually paying to be there. And so all those things factor into this networking and the importance of networking. What have you learned or still want to get better at as far as the networking end from these experiences?
I've learned that, like you said, it's important to put yourself out there and make yourself memorable. I've also learned that when you're working with clients, it's important to kind of show them that you do know what you're doing and know what you're talking about. So making them feel comfortable, kind of giving them like guiding directions helps them a lot with that. And so not like being too commanding, but not being too quiet. You have to like learn how to step out of your zone and kind of um, be okay with like saying like this is like what I want you to do. And yeah, just like networking with the other people there and making sure to respect them and what they need to do. Um, just to kind of make it like show them that you understand that their jobs are important too.
Another thing that made me think of that was something I really want to always do is, again, add additional value. And so I was helping move stuff around, and you were too, and I helped them pack up at the end of the night, and just all these different things. Even when your relationship's established, just doing the right thing. And certain times in your life or certain days you won't be able to do that. When you get a certain time in your career, you may not be able to do that, or need or not be able to do that. But your time may be used in different ways or need to be used in different ways. But especially when you're starting out and creating these relationships, going that extra mile for people is going to make a huge difference in the way they perceive you. I love that you talked about, yeah, staying out of people's way. So you're, again, your number one job is you're on this team, and so everyone is getting this goal of getting these beautiful pictures. I at one point ran and drove and bought champagne because they needed champagne for this photo shoot. The champagne didn't work, no questions asked. That's something that I wanted to do for them, and will work out again for me in the future. And they got good pictures based on that too, which also is wonderful. And then, yes, about the kind of taking initiative, and the photographer did a great job with that, right? She poses this bride, she's the leader of this. The bride, the model did a beautiful job. Both models, the husband and groom model, did a beautiful job of posing and being models. But they wouldn't have had been that good without her direction. And so that's something too, is even if you aren't where you're going to be in the future, you can still add a lot of value with your expertise that you know, even at this point, even while you're young. And the earlier you kind of grow into that power, the better it will be moving forward. Always have the mindset that you certainly don't know it all. Even the best people in the world are constantly learning. They're lifelong learners, but you do know a lot. And all you young people bring so much to the table. And so if you own that and own what you know, if you don't know something, not be afraid to ask questions and learn from it. There's so much power in all that. I used the example with you when we were out there that I play guitar and played guitar since I was 14 years old, but I never got in a band because I just wanted to be better before I got in a band. And literally my whole life now, I'm 40 and I've not been in a freaking band, which is just stupid because I would have learned so much more if I would have just jumped in and get in there. And I encourage you to do that too. And like you are with your personal business, which you're going to be doing work for somebody, your first paid gig, that you are jumping in there, going to be doing work for people, and valuing kind of your expertise and what you bring to the table. And you'll do the best job that you can at this point. And then you get better and better and better and create this relationship. Also, as you come up, if you go up with other people, right, and you grow together, then they will always remember you. And a lot of people have been very successful that way too, working with other people and kind of all rising together. And that's kind of what Mama Bird is all about, is that we all rise together, and can change the world that way. So all those things are really important. What other things did you feel? Um, what I guess what other takeaways did you have from this day specifically?
I feel like I learned a lot just from doing this one event. I learned at the other weddings, but I feel like going to school and like learning about media production and then coming back and actually getting to like put it in practice in action helped me a lot. Um, I learned that I don't know, just like being comfortable with like talking to people, just having normal conversations is important because that's how you develop those networking opportunities. Because sometimes people may not know that you yourself are a nice person unless you like actually take the time to talk to them. And just yeah, and I'm learning more and more how important networking is, especially with the fact that like I was thinking about how we had been asked to do this opportunity in the first place, and it all started because of the bridal showcase that way I went to. And so just understanding like why networking really is important because like this opportunity would not have presented itself if we would not have had that connection with Monica and Tori. And so a big thing like that leads to success is knowing the right people is something that I'm really like learning.
And you can, and I love that you said, first of all, I love that you said that you tied it into the schoolwork you're doing because you're in college at the CU Boulder. And that's something too that I wanted you, right, to, as part of your introduction to people, or you need to get that across. So find the most impressive points about yourself, whatever that can be. And it doesn't need to be the same for everyone. Every single one of us has really impressive things about themselves. And so when you share that with people, they see you in a different light. So I'm a doctor, an educational doctor. I don't use my title in a lot of different ways, but I will use it in ways strategically so that people are like, oh, this guy had to go through this. He has something different. To me, one of the things that you really is amazing about you is that you are double majoring in college currently at CU Boulder. There's many different levels of that too that can be powerful, double majoring and minoring. And so if you don't bring those things up to people, they won't know that about you. And so it can be awkward to kind of throw that in. But in a situation like this, it lends itself perfectly because you're doing media production. That's what you're majoring in. But it could be anything. If you're in college in a different capacity, or if you want to go to a certain career later, and this is just a certain place you're at in your life, you share that with people and you make connections. You will find connections with people. You may know some of the same people. And so we just literally were randomly next to the owners of Platinum Bridal, which was amazing. So that's just kind of random networking, but we made sure we followed up with them. We made sure we connected with them during the show. And then it was strategic after that point in that we really wanted to connect with these women because they're amazing. We really wanted to do work because they're amazing. They have really diverse brides, which is something that I've only filmed white brides previously. And I really want to have a more diverse company. And so that's something too that I really wanted to connect with them in that way too. And this whole company is about bringing up young women of color. They're amazing business owners that are women of color, and so there's so many good things about this. And so if you aren't in a place, which you probably aren't, where you can pay $1,000 to be at this bridal showcase and then connect with people that way, you can do research on the internet. You can cold call, which is called cold calling, or reach out online. You can follow people in their social media and then kind of write good comments about them. And then they start seeing your name that way. And then you reach out to them and try to connect with them, or offer them some sort of service that you can provide. So there's ways to network strategically, which means kind of you really think about it first to do it. And so that can be done. In the wedding industry, it looks like, again, who has the power in this? Who are the ones that make these decisions? For weddings, that's specifically the wedding planners. So one thing that we haven't done previously outside of Platinum Bridal is strategically find people who have aligned values as us, find people who have aligned principles as us, and connect with them from a wedding planner perspective. Because the wedding planners are, if you can afford a wedding planner, you're already at a higher end wedding, right? So you can afford all these other things and pay more for them. And then you can also just really, it's really an easy process at that point. If the wedding planner recommends you, they're going to go with you. The other place to really strategically network in weddings are with the actual venues, because venues have what they call preferred vendors, and then they will recommend people. So when I was at this event, I made sure to find out who the owner of this location was and go contact them, go talk to them, introduce myself to them, tell them about our vision for our business, tell them about the exciting work that we're doing, make sure that they know I'm connected with Platinum Bridal, who they've got a relationship with, so they connect me in that regard. And then I'm going to follow up with them too in the future and let them know what we do and show them our work so they can see we do good work. And it's a long process, though. I don't expect to get weddings right away from them, but over time, when they keep hearing our names, when they see us in different touch points, when we follow up over time, then we will get business from them. So it's all, that's one thing to encourage about this too, is it's called the long game, which is you're looking at the long game. Your goal is over the course of time that these seeds you're planting, right? Trees take a long time to grow and bear fruit, that you're doing this for the long term. One mistake I've fallen into in the past is trying to overdo it. So when I'm at these wedding showcase, I connect with like 50 people. They're all amazing, but I can't, in my capacity, can't follow up with 50 people. Nor for my business do I need to follow up with 50 people. I need to follow up with 3 really important people and have these better relationships with them. So I'd encourage you to do that too. Is kind of have these tighter connections with a smaller group of people. And then what's going to happen too is when you're successful and you do a good job for them, then they will network for you, right? And so now everywhere I go, I'm connected with all these amazing women, and I can connect them to other people that will help move them forward in different ways. So if I know someone who needs makeup now, I know Bridget, and I can recommend Bridget to do their makeup. And so there's a lot of different facets to this, and they're all important, but they're all just really powerful. And you get experience just like anything by doing the actual networking too. Are you feeling more comfortable as you've been in these more situations? Tell us just really quickly about kind of are you an outgoing person naturally? How has this process been? What have you learned recently? And then we'll wrap it.
So I do not see myself as a naturally outgoing person. All of my childhood, I just liked being like alone sometimes. But I feel myself definitely growing. I feel myself wanting to talk to more people and becoming more outgoing. Um, with these opportunities, sometimes I do feel a little bit intimidated by older people, and that's something that I kind of need to get over. But yeah, I can definitely see myself like being able to speak more. Like if I have to talk now, I can. Which in the past, because I used to think I had like almost a form of social anxiety because it just was too difficult. Like I'll overthink everything I said. But now I kind of find myself like if I had to speak, I can, and I want to kind of get more into that zone where I like love speaking to people. It's not that I don't like speaking to people. I just get scared of how they're going to view me. But I'm kind of learning to overcome that.
And that's one thing I want you and your peers to really hear from me and learn from me. And then I'll wrap this up. Is the way that I see you and the capabilities I know you have. And I want you to look at something you see that as a weakness that you're young, and I see it as a strength. Right? You were way younger than everybody else at this event, and they see that right away, and they're like, "Whoa, this young woman's amazing. She's doing all this great work. She's here with us." Um, People also want to help people and teach people that are younger, and especially the people you want to be around. If people are toxic and they're not, that isn't their mindset, then try not to be around them. But if they are, they could be future mentors, which mentoring doesn't need to be a formal process. You can just learn as much as you can from these people when you can. And so those kind of things, if you're young, which that's really our target audience is young women of color, if you are these young women and you get into these situations, especially that you're one of the only young people, then people will look at you in a really positive light. So that's going to accelerate your maturation. And also, when you are then an older person later in life, you're going to look back and say, man, these people gave me a shot when I was young. I want to find other people to give a shot to too. And I know they have value right away. I know they have skills right away. All these things are really important. And so putting yourself in that situation, I'm proud of you too, because I have seen your maturity. And so much of that is just getting the opportunity, right? When you have the opportunity, you get it and you learn from it, and you grow from it, and you're just getting started. Like give yourself the freedom and the leeway to know that you're going to grow over time and do the best job of where you're at currently. I don't know how you would help others to get past social anxiety, because that's a legitimate thing that I can say we can put you in these situations, you just shine. Do you have recommendations for people who have a um, similar issue to or condition to overcome that?
I think definitely putting yourself in those situations to learn and grow, because I feel like that's the only way that I have kind of pushed myself out of that. Is like when you see that there's an opportunity for you to talk to somebody or for you to do something like with me going and filming these things. I like it definitely. Yeah, I don't know, just like speaking up more. It might be hard, but like just like starting slow, like once a day, kind of take the time to go and talk more than you would normally, or just take the time like to seek out something that will kind of force you to get outside of your comfort zone.
I think one to add to that too would be if you have setbacks, to not like define yourself by that. So if you're making all this progress and then you have a setback, an emotional setback, a mental setback, that you give yourself again the leeway to say, that's okay. This isn't, forever, all these things, that I can still have growth and not go back in a lot of ways. So I think that can be important too. Okay, so the bottom line again, networking is maybe the most important thing in business. You need to be connected to people that can help move you forward in life in very many different areas. That can be done online, that can be done in person, that can be done through the schools you go to, that can be done through your jobs. Like, pay attention to the relationships you have. If you get around people that you think can move your world forward in a lot of ways, make sure that you can try to provide as much value to them as possible, so that you get those opportunities, because that's really important. All right, thank you, Ariana, for this. You have a wonderful day. I will talk to you later.
You too. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.